Milan Smutný. Shock is part of any acquisition. Seyfor's finance director, Milan Smutný, doesn't wrap topics in fine words, but calmly admits where the friction is. In his 6 years in the role, he's overseen more acquisitions than in the company's entire history before him. We discussed how to recognize a good company before the numbers, why cash flow forecasting is unpopular but mandatory, and what happens in the first year after an acquisition. We would like to inform you that this voice recording was created by artificial intelligence. Seyfor has grown significantly through acquisitions in recent years. Looking back, what surprised you most?
In the 6 years I've been here, we've acquired more companies than in Seyfor's entire history before I joined. Today we have more than 30, a fairly staggering number. What always surprises me is that no two are the same. Not in finances or business structure, but culturally, each has its own DNA, different management style, relationships, ways of communicating, and it's precisely that diversity that makes integration so complicated.
How hard is it for your team to manage such diversity?
We approach the whole process with a very positive mindset. Every acquisition brings the motivation to learn something new, and we enjoy that. We try to befriend the new company so collaboration works. But of course, it's not all that simple. A new company also brings a whole host of demanding steps.
That's also why someone new joined your team, Honza Kaplan. How does he fit in?
In the past, the people involved in acquisitions were brilliant, but for them, an acquisition always came as an unexpected treat. Mid-season, during the annual report, during budgeting, capacity was limited, nerves were on edge, and flow was lost. So we strengthened the team with someone who's there at the transaction from the start. He gets to know the company in detail and meets key people before closing. By the time we launch post-acquisition onboarding, he's with us and can move the company towards our needs far more naturally. We've tried it twice and it works extremely well.
How do you know a company is worth acquiring, financially speaking?
The whole process has firm rule. Due diligence, internal quality parameters by which we evaluate and track potential. But one crucial parameter isn't so much financial, it's the way we receive answers. When we ask about a specific trend or figure and get back roughly, approximately, or a gut feeling, that's a warning sign for me. But when the answer is clear, structured, and the person knows what they're talking about, it gives us a very high degree of confidence that it will work.
So the answers tell you if a company is genuinely well managed.
Partly, yes, but it's not that simple. With companies already part of a group, we can tell straight away. They're used to reporting with data in a set structure. Smaller companies rely heavily on the owner's instinct and experience. They've run things this way for 30 years, which isn't necessarily bad. What matters is whether they've weathered some hell and recovered from it. That too is information for us.
Many of the companies you acquire say reporting is new territory for them. Does management think cash flow is under control when reality is quite different?
Cash flow isn't the best example since it's one of the more complex areas. To forecast, you need granular detail, some kind of trajectory. Most of the companies we focus on, smaller to mid-sized, typically don't have a cash flow forecast. It's a peculiar discipline, lots of work, lots of inputs, then a review, and you still miss the mark. For us, though, the cash flow forecast is critical because we have a credit facility, meaning responsibility to the bank and our creditors. So for us, it's an unpopular discipline, but a compulsory one.
Is there a financial warning sign that makes you say, not this company?
Absolutely. It's not just about financial parameters, though. Those have their own rules too. What matters is whether we feel there's potential. We never focus on what we can cut. Companies slashing costs and seeking internal efficiencies aren't for us. We look at whether we can drive sales growth.
On to integration. What awaits a company?
Shock.
Yours or theirs?
Mutual, but we're constantly improving. I've mentioned onboarding already. Communication matters hugely to us. From the outset, we show them where we got burned in past acquisitions, the hidden pitfalls, what took longest. We lay our cards on the table, showing we're ready for mistakes too, and on their side. That gradually gets them talking. Exactly what we want, since after the presentation, we often see half the things they don't understand and the rest they're afraid to ask about.
Where's the shock coming from?
Suddenly they must do things in detail they either never had to do or only rarely did. Workload grows and they hit capacity or knowledge limits. They're good at what they do, but what we bring is a whole new level. So one of the first things we address is how to strengthen the local finance team. Sometimes a finance manager, sometimes a director, someone who speaks our language and knows our jargon.
What specifically surprises new teams the most?
Reporting. Across the group, we want a standardized report so we don't have to learn everything 30 times over. Our report is fairly detailed, which brings a secondary benefit, fewer questions afterwards. There are fewer management meetings where the company must explain why something happened, and we see it in the data and don't read between the lines. We also want to see their sales pipeline in advance, which companies typically lack. Then there's governance. The company will eventually be included in the group's consolidated accounts and needs to prepare for that. This includes audits, policies, and insurance cover, things they didn't need before. That's why it's important they know in good time.
Do they ever fill in a report they don't believe in?
Yes, that's the worst situation. When trust breaks down, the whole process is pointless and we go back to square one. If after 6 months we find the data aren't good quality, contain errors, and the methodology isn't followed, we go back to zero. It doesn't happen often, but it has.
Is there a minimum standard and then a gold standard you want to bring a company to?
In theory, the gold standard exists, but we move towards it gradually. Take budgeting, something we don't fixate on at the start. We focus only on high-level parameters. For the first 12 months, we let the company learn to work within the new structure, new accounts, projects, cost centers. Only once we trust the data and methodology is followed, do we start building a detailed budget. Otherwise, the company plans within a structure it doesn't fully understand and promises something nobody has seen. Then a year of needless disappointment awaits.
So in year one, you don't really fixate on KPIs?
Not quite. There are targets, but only for the main parameters: revenues, personnel expenses, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization and capex. We skip every cost category since that's usually where misunderstandings arise. Forcing an unclear, detailed plan on them is pointless. We mainly want them to live with it and understand everything.
Could you name one thing Seyfor does differently from others in acquisitions?
Partnership. It may sound like a cliche, but I mean it seriously. From the first discussions with a potential seller, we try to communicate what lies ahead for them. And then we deliver on our word. Reality doesn't diverge from what we've promised. That's what matters. We put on the investor hat only when processes aren't working, which happens rarely.
Thank you very much.